Good CPR. Check his breathing.
EMTs and police find 3 children in a home starving, 1 losing consciousness, and the woman trusted to care for them is in the hot seat.
I cook dinner mostly for breakfast, oatmeal.
I go through the latest on the disturbing details and the latest developments out of this case in Ohio. I'm Angenette Levy, and this is Crime Fix. Staying on top of the news is absolutely crucial these days, especially when there are allegations of media bias. Who knows what to believe? I want to introduce you to our sponsor, Straight Arrow News. Straight Arrow News is a personalized news platform that gives readers fact-based journalism to inform and build trust. Its Media Miss tool shows readers headlines not seen in mainstream outlets, providing useful commentary that cuts through sensational spin. Their site and app also points out biases with their media landscape tool to group sources by political leaning for full transparency. So if you are ready for a better way to get the news, go to san.com/crimefix or just click the link in my description. Straight Arrow News. Skip the drama, get the facts. Welcome back to trustworthy journalism. There are 2 people in Ohio who've now been indicted on very serious felony charges after 3 young children were found in their home starving. The kids are ages 9, 8, and 6, and I'm told the children were so thin and scrawny, particularly the 9-year-old boy, that they looked like concentration camp victims. I told you about Angel Holland and Aaron Stalling recently. They faced charges of felonious assault and child endangering, and we now have body-worn camera footage of police responding to the house where they lived in a village called Elmwood Place near Cincinnati. We'll look more closely at that in a few minutes. But let's go back to the very, very beginning. The case begins on September 13th when Aaron Stalling called 911 and said his son was having trouble breathing.
911, what's the location of your emergency?
Cincinnati, Ohio, 45219.
What was the street?
Helen Street.
What's the first letter of that?
H.
Okay, Helen.
Yeah, Helen.
Okay, and Elmwood, is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
And what's your name?
Aaron.
And a good phone number for you?
513-9439.
Okay, what's going on today?
My child isn't breathing, or he's having a hard time breathing.
How old is he?
He's 9.
Okay, and is he breathing, or is he not breathing?
He's breathing heavily. He seems to be really weak.
The 911 call taker continued to ask questions about the 9-year-old boy's condition so she could tell medics what they were walking into.
Okay, all right, I have him dispatched for you. I just have a couple questions to ask. Is he able to speak in full sentences?
No, he's not speaking at all.
Okay. Does he have to sit up to breathe?
No, he can't. He's not responding.
Okay. Does he have a rescue inhaler?
No.
Okay. Does he have any kind of illness related with having trouble breathing?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Is he prescribed oxygen at all?
No.
Okay. And that's him in the background?
Yes.
Okay. How long has this been going on?
I don't know. Maybe about 5 minutes. I heard his breathing was kind of labored. So I went to check on him, and he just seemed out of it and wasn't really responding.
Okay. But his chest is rising and falling. He is breathing. He's just having trouble breathing.
I don't know. It's like he's not breathing. I don't know.
Okay. Can you tell me if his chest is rising and falling?
No. Look, hold on. What? Is his chest rising and falling?
The call taker continues to ask questions and she gets more information.
Okay, we do have him on the way for you, okay? If
Okay.
anything changes at all, if his breathing gets any more labored, give us a call back, okay? Do you want any medical instructions before they arrive?
Yeah, is there anything I can do?
Just don't give him anything to eat or drink. Make sure he tries to stay calm. Try to get him in whatever position is more comfortable for him to breathe. He might be more comfortable sitting up. Make sure he doesn't try to talk and exert himself. If he takes any medication, just gather it and give us a call back if anything changes, okay?
So medics raced to the house on Helen Street for this sick little boy, and what they found was awful. When the police officer arrived, EMTs were already in the house trying to help the boy.
5 Lincoln 11, logging a public service.
What's going on?
11, Call 13, an animal complaint. This Sky Zone 11745 Common. The dog inside of
Squad 39,
a
requesting ALS.
deep brake clean.
Pediatric.
67,
What?
69. All the windows are up. Call 13. Requesting ALS.
13, okay.
Hey, William 11, I'm 27. Copy.
If it's CPR, check his breathing. As soon as that medic gets here, just tell him it's CPR right now.
Okay. You said tell him that CPR.
Copy.
As the officer walks out of the house, EMTs are performing CPR on that 9-year-old in a room. You only perform CPR when someone's breathing has stopped or their heart has stopped beating. It doesn't get any more serious than this.
Need compressions?
Frank 11, switching to channel 2 for 38.
I don't know what's going on right here.
Hello. Need you. All right, I'll be back.
Come on, buddy.
Does he still have a pulse?
The EMTs, they need additional equipment to help this boy.
They need to help me carry something.
All right.
resuscitate him, so take this to hatchet.
The EMTs continue to work on reviving the boy, and eventually they get him to the point where they feel that they can move him to the ambulance and get him to the hospital.
We'll bring him out here. We're going to go right to the bus. All right. We'll bring him out.
Last night, but the night before, he said he needed to use the restroom, and he did, and he had tripped. But other than that,
You could hear Angel Holland in the background of that clip saying the night before last, the boy had gotten up to go to the restroom and he had tripped. Police then spoke to her at the hospital about the food in the house.
so like my food is kept in my kitchen, in the fridge. Fruit I put on the table. I mean, like, it's not like locked up or anything, no.
A police officer then asks Angel Holland whether she cooks 3 meals a day.
So for breakfast, what do they eat? Like, what meal do you typically cook?
I cook dinner mostly.
Okay.
For breakfast, oatmeal, different things, cereal, fruit, toast. It just really depends on the day.
Is there ever any time where you don't have food in the home, like for breakfast or anything like that?
No.
Okay, you always have cereal or oatmeal. They always got something they can readily get to.
Who else is in the home besides you and the children?
My boyfriend and my husband,
What's the boyfriend's name?
Aaron Spalding.
How do you spell the last name?
Stalling.
Does he take a caretaking role over the children?
Sometimes, but not really.
How do you
He
guys?
helps with them, yes. Like, I've had them since they were little, so, like, they call him dad because they see a man around, but, like, other than that, like, he helps. They go to other type of things, so yeah.
How do you guys split up like the household responsibilities?
For a while, we were living as roommates, which it's very complicating to explain.
Do the children have any sort of responsibilities in that respect?
I mean, help clean up after themselves, or when they're done, like eating, if there's a mess, they'll help. Sometimes they help do the bathroom trash, like nothing major, but things they're able to do.
You said that the kids call you your dad.
I mean, they call me mom as well.
What kinds of things does Aaron do to help out with the children?
Well, watching spaghetti, play games, just different things.
How do you delay the sort of medical emergencies? Do you or Aaron have any sort of place or facilities?
Real quick too, since I'm involved now, I got a Mirandize here, by the way, because I'm involved. All right, so I give you Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say will be used against you in court of law. You have the right to an attorney during questioning. If you waive your rights, you understand. If you waive your rights and don't talk to us, you can do that, and you can revoke your rights at any time. Do you understand? You don't have to answer any of our questions without legal representation.
Okay.
If you want to cease the interview at any time, you can. Do you understand? No?
Yeah, so I can just say I don't want to answer any questions.
Then you can get a lawyer at any time.
And if I don't have the money for one, then
One will be appointed to you if you qualify, yes.
The social worker goes on to tell Angel Holland that if she doesn't answer their questions, then they will take custody of the kids. Eventually, Holland and Aaron Stalin were taken into custody. They were both booked into the Hamilton County Justice Center on those initial charges of felonious assault and child endangering. They both went through the typical process of being fingerprinted and searched at the wall at the jail, and they had their mugshots taken. An affidavit revealed medical staff determined the 9-year-old was critically ill with a core temperature below 80 degrees, severe malnourishment, and a weight of 30 pounds. The child's custodian, Angel Holland, reported having custody of him since 2020, stated that he complained of a stomachache 3 days earlier, and admitted no medical care was sought after a recent fall. She stated she was preoccupied with another child the day of the incident. A normal body temperature is around 98.6 degrees. The affidavit also details what the detective said Aaron Stalling told them. Also present was Aaron Stalling, Ms. Holland's live-in boyfriend, who admitted hearing the boy having trouble breathing. When told of the boy's condition, he responded, "We feed him." The detective said doctors confirmed that the 9-year-old boy was severely malnourished, showed signs of physical abuse, and was still in critical condition 3 days later. The younger siblings, ages 6 and 8, were also malnourished and were hospitalized. The affidavit continues. A search warrant executed at 5626 Helen Street resulted in the recovery of multiple items of evidentiary value, including bungee cords, a belt, and soiled towels observed inside a vehicle registered to Ms. Holland. So to discuss this case, I want to bring in a defense attorney who's based in Cincinnati. This case could very well land in his lap. His name is Bill Gallagher. He's handled many types of cases over the years. So Bill, this is a horrific case. We have body-worn camera footage showing these EMTs running into the house, performing CPR on this boy, whose breathing is labored. Either his breathing has stopped or his heart has stopped. That's when you perform CPR. Right. He's 9 years old. He weighs 30 pounds. He's a poor kid, is a mess. He looks like a concentration camp victim from what I was told when they found him. My God, what do you do with this case?
Well, I mean, the first thing we got to do is not jump to conclusions first. We're going to have to talk about which person I represent as well. But, I need to see medical records. It's not about the weight, but, there are children who do have medical conditions who can't process proteins or can't process food properly. And I'm not saying that the kids didn't deserve some medical treatment earlier, but it is a question about whether or not this qualifies as things such as a felonious assault, which is knowingly trying to cause harm to somebody, and the more serious of the two, child endangerments, which really is requiring a sort of a reckless causing harm to somebody. Those are the two things I'm really interested in: medical issues, as well as the state of mind issues that come with some of these more serious charges.
So we have the kids, all three of the children, according to the documents we've obtained from, the courts, say that all three of the children were underweight and malnourished. The 9-year-old, though, my God, was in really bad shape when 911 was called. I mean, thank God they even called 911, because the kid was having labored breathing and he was a mess. These children also, it's my understanding, we're not in school. A lot of times the schools will be the first line of defense. They'll see that something is terribly wrong. And sadly, to me, it's sad, but it's the truth. A lot of kids, they eat at school. That's where they get the bulk of their food. So there's a lot going on here, Bill. I mean, if these kids were not even in school, that's a problem.
It is. What's also, we don't know much yet about mom and dad. And what I mean by them is this, or I should say mom and boyfriend. What we don't know about mom is basically where is she functioning? Where is she in terms of her overall cognitive ability? Where is she mentally? Those could also be factors that are interfering with what's going on here. And we don't know that yet. Obviously, the pictures and the stories and everything have everybody really concerned and outraged in what happens, because nothing bad should ever happen to a child. And I get that. But I don't want to jump and assume that these parents, this mother and boyfriend were doing this intentionally, or were doing this knowingly, there could either be one, a reckless state or a negligent state instead, or second, there may be some cognitive issues with the both of them, and we just don't know that.
What I find interesting here is that Angel, she was the custodian. She, custodial mother. The kids called her mom, but these were not her biological children, but she had custody of them. Now, she had a biological child in the house. She's not accused of mistreating or harming this biological child of hers. So I think that's important. There's a distinction there. So I think that the prosecution will say, well, she wasn't charged with harming her biological child. She's accused of harming the children she had custody of.
Correct.
So don't you think that that's a bad fact, as defense attorneys say, for this couple?
It's obviously a very challenging fact. There's no doubt about it. If there's disparate treatment or disparate results, that's always an issue for any defense lawyer to have to deal with. If there is unequal treatment, you're absolutely right. That is a problem.
From the little bit we know about this Angel Holland, she appears to have been the primary caregiver. She has this boyfriend. He's also charged, obviously, because he's in there. He's in the house. The kids call him dad because he's in the house and he's a father figure, despite him not being their father. So he's still the guy in the house. He still has a responsibility, if he's the father figure in the house and living with these kids, to ensure that they're not starving and living in an unsuitable and abusive environment, right?
Well, that's going to be another challenge. I think that's going to be the bigger challenge, I think, for the prosecutors. There's one thing about being the guardian, right? Somebody who the courts or someone else has legally turned the children over to. But no one turned these children over to the care of Angel and her boyfriend. Her boyfriend, I don't know the facts yet, how often he's over there and everything. Just because the kids called him dad doesn't necessarily put upon him this obligation to the same level it would be mom. There are other charges that might go along with, in terms of, as you might know, there's a difference between someone drug dealing and someone permitting drug dealing to occur. So there may be something to distinguish the boyfriend's culpability from mom's or from Angel's culpability. He just doesn't have that necessary legal obligation. That's going to be, unless you can prove he was acting, and in the Latin term is loco parentis, in place of the parent. And that's what the charge alleges, is that he was also acting as a parent in all of his acts and deeds.
Well, he does refer in the 911 call to the 9-year-old boy as his son. He says, my son.
Right. No, I get that. And what I'm saying is those are all challenges. What you're throwing out is clearly challenges for it. I just think that it is a little bit more difficult, I think, or will prove a little challenging for the prosecutors, who are going to have to get really, really deep, I think, in terms of how often he was there, what was his involvement with the children, to prove that in loco parentis. Angel's much easier. She's the guardian. A legal paper will prove that, whether she was there all the time or not. But for him, you're going to have to prove that he was basically acting as a father, not just calling himself a father, but acting as a father or acting as a guardian would be.
Most definitely. But I do find it interesting. I mean, it seems like they were living as a family unit in this home. It's just a horrific case. Thank God that those kids they got out of there. And another thing too, that just kills me, Angel and Aaron, they look like they've been eating. They look healthy. So it's like, my God, what's going on? And Angel's telling the cops, and the social worker at the hospital, depending on the day, it's oatmeal, fruit, cereal on the table. I'm not hiding food, stuff like that. Like, I mean, it's like, like,
well, I think
kids gotta eat. Kids have to eat. They're growing.
So I think, you're going to obviously have medical people, but you're also going to have, the 9-year-old at least, right? In terms of a relator of what were meal times like? How was that going on? Were you being restricted? Were you being refused? I mean, those are all things that still have to be investigated and developed, but you're absolutely right. And it may be, who knows? I mean, we're really, really early on in this, and I'm, for one, just really don't just want to jump to the conclusion that they're both absolutely guilty of everything the prosecutor says that they're guilty of, and we'll just proceed to punishment. We've got to slow down a little on mine.
Understand completely. They are innocent until proven guilty of each and every charge. They have the rights that everybody else in this country charged with a crime have. So I'll be interested to see how the case progresses. Bill Gallagher, thank you so much, as always, for your time and your expertise.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
Now, when I first told you about this case, I spoke with forensic psychiatrist Dr. Daniel Bober about it. Here's a little bit of what he had to say.
There are over 500,000 victims of child maltreatment in the United States, which includes abuse and neglect. And the most common type of child maltreatment is neglect, which is failing to provide for your child's basic needs, physical, emotional, educational, and medical. So whereas abuse is an act of commission, neglect is an act of omission. It means doing something versus not doing something. And this is probably one of the most horrific cases I've ever seen.
Angel Holland and Aaron Stalling are being held on those charges as they await trial. A benefit was recently held to help the children, and I hear that their condition is improving, thank goodness. And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.